In this segment, we're going to talk about how to share settings across charts. Okay, so you can see here I have a workspace set up and it has 6 different charts on it, and I've got it aligned like this. You'll understand better in a minute why it works better that way. I've changed the background of the sender to blue, and one of the first things you want to do as you load your chart, this is the candle number indicator, and you want to make sure that all the charts actually have the same number of candles. That will tell you if a chart is corrupted, if there's any missing data. So you can see here that these are all the same. One of the things I do when I set a chart up is I always leave it in a state where the chart tool is turned off for the sender, because that allows the file to open quicker, and it helps if you're going to change the settings anyway. You don't want to create a bunch of files that are not, you don't need, because most of the time people are using the shared settings feature because they're trying to create multiple backtest scenarios simultaneously. So let's show you a little bit. First of all, I'm going to show you a few things, and then we'll actually take it through its paces. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go Edit Studies, and I've got this labeled here, and so I know it's the sender. That just helps me. And you can see I also have the candle number indicator turned on. So I have to see the settings, I have to turn the status on. I'm going to go to Customize. And I always turn all the graphics off, except for the bands. It just helps with the whole loading scenario, because because you might be using this to do something different than using the backtest feature. Then whatever settings I want to send to all the charts, I am making those changes here, and I have already made some changes of what I want to send to the charts. And then when I get down here, okay. So right now I have got my band test enabled. Okay. I've got my date ranges. I've told it to turn off all graphics when I run a band test. And then when we get down here to the cross chart settings, I've got send settings set to true. I've given it a sender name, test_master. Okay. And I have some default OSF set up that I want to receive, and I've placed those in a sender folder. And so I've got those set to true to load those. So any OSF that I would want to load, I have a very specific file layout, which I'll show you in a minute, because that's going to be important to control where things are going, because each whether you're dumping the file settings or creating backtest files through the band test feature, they cannot write to the same folder. Everything has to be designated to its own specific folder. So I will show you that as well. And so that's, and then I dump, right now I don't have dump settings turned on, but if you wanted to verify, in particular on your receiver files, what settings were sent to them, you could use that feature as well. And that, again, I send to a specific location. So in this case, I would send this to the sender folder. All right, so I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to turn this off for right now. Close this. Now I'm going to go show you what a receiver file looks like. And what I did is I have these labeled as receiver 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Studies, edit studies. Then you can see my receiver 1. If I go into customize, you can see I have everything here set to default, but even though I do, so that allows the sender to overwrite all these settings. So anything that you don't have set to default will not get overwritten. So you always want to make sure that these are in the default state unless you're doing something particular. Okay. So here, you have to make sure that you're sending it to the receiver 1 file, and then to a results folder, and then we are loading a rules file in this case because we have some specific rules that we want to load into this, and so that is in the receiver 1 by OSF files. And then we have some skins that we're loading. If you look here at the cross chart settings, you can see the sender name is Test Master, and I'm going to receive the rules, the skins, and the miscellaneous settings. And so that's kind of how everything is set up with a receiver. And you can see here that I have another workspace, and this workspace was opened just this morning, so they're all at 15,000 candles, which is good. And now I'm going to go here to studies, and I'm just going to show you it's the exact same setup, except it's a different receiver. And so the band test, I can set it for a different range of dates. Maybe I'm testing, this is July to June, maybe July of 2019 to June of 2021. Maybe in this one I'm testing a prior year. So that's also an option to allow you to get through your band tests more efficiently. And then, again, everything goes into the test folder, and there's a specific folder for receiver 6. That is very important to make sure that you set that up appropriately. And then if we go down here to the dump settings, again, you want to have a specific receiver 6 folder set up if you are dumping and testing your settings. Now again, you can see that the sender name is Test Master, and it's set to receive the rules and the skins. It's not set to receive the miscellaneous because that's not really changing anything here. And so that's a little bit about how that is set up. So let's close this. And let me show you a little bit about the folder layout. Okay, you can see here I'm on my C drive in my Chart Tools data folder, and I've got my test folder right here. Just open that up, and you can see that I have a bunch of different receivers here. I actually have this set up to have one sender and up to 23 receivers. You may find, based on the memory within TradeStation, I seem that I can reliably send from 1 to 23. In most cases, depending on how much data I have on my chart and stuff, I may back it down to just doing 11 receivers. You'll have to play with that depending on what you're analyzing and how much information. But so if I go and I look at my sender folder, I've got my OSF files that I want to load in my sender. I have Pro OSFs, which I don't have any that I'm going to load in this scenario. And then I have my results. And you can see here where I've been playing with this, I have a lot of band test results. And you'll be able to see which one was the most recent one. And it'll tell you the asset, the interval, the date the test was run, and the time. Okay. Now, let's go look at how a receiver's laid out. So you can see a receiver, my OSF files, and the results. So let's go here to receiver 1. And what I do is when I run the file, and I move things into the results because once I've completed it. So you can see that I do have some OSF files here that will be loaded. And those are my OSFs. And then I have my results. And then these are ones I've analyzed. And you can see that I have a new one here that I have not looked at. And again, same format. And you can see that this was run at the same time, 8/9. So that kind of gives you a little bit, and all these are laid out the same. And for those that are doing this file structure, we can probably put a zip of it up onto the website, so you wouldn't have to recreate all this. So let's go run a test, and for time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and close this one. And just run the 6. And then all I have to do is I already have my chart tool set up, so I'm just going to enable it. And then it'll go off, and you can see it'll start to run, and it'll just go through and start pushing the settings to all of the different charts. Okay, you can see that everything has come back now. And if we go over here, we can see that we now have a band in receiver 1. We have a band test result. You can see it's today's day. Go to the sender. And you can see we have results there as well. 2. So receiver 3 has the results. Receiver 2. Receiver 4. And receiver 5. So you can see, so that allows you to test a lot of different things simultaneously within the band test feature, but you can also use this same feature for sharing across charts for many more applications. I'm sure you guys will come up with lots of creative things. So that is a little bit about that, and we'll probably be doing more videos in the future.